Hey, what is going on, guys? Dave from Wake Up It's Football with the Red Zone Blitz, alongside of Ezra from Idiot Sports Talk. Ezra, how's your week been going, man?
Pretty rough, and my Jets lose again for the third straight week. The Nets suck. The Knicks suck, even though I hate them. The Giants suck. All New York active teams right now suck. So it hasn't been very good for me. So it is what it is. But we got to talk about that Redskins-Giants finish, David.
Yeah, there was actually a controversial call at the end of that game that might have cost the Redskins maybe a comeback, possibly, to tie up the Giants. I don't know if I want to explain it because it's kind of, I don't want to confuse the viewers out there, but pretty much the gist of it was the Redskins gained a certain amount of yards where it looked like it could have been a first down. The Redskins called pretty much, I guess you can technically say, a first down play. The chain gang on the sideline switched the down to the number 1. So everyone thinks it's a first down. The referees on the field, on the other hand, thought it was a third down. So they didn't, I don't know, was it an incomplete pass on that next play?
They threw a deep pass to, I believe, Fred Davis, and he dropped the ball.
He drops the ball, and now the referees are telling the Redskins it's fourth down, when the Redskins just thought it was a first down. And this was late in the game. They're trying to rally to tie the game up 24-24 because they were down by 7. Why can't referees? I don't know how I want to attack this right now, because I've seen so many different times where the referees should probably stop the game and review something. Stop the game and talk it over. Stop the game and just slow your pace a little bit. These are calls that need to be made. And I don't want to say you cost the Redskins the game because they were down by 7. If they scored a touchdown, they would have tied the game up with a 1-point conversion. If they wanted to take the risk to take a 2-point conversion, that's fine. Whatever. The point is this. You pretty much halted their drive. And that's unacceptable. I understand that, these refs are getting paid, I don't know however much money they get paid, but probably pretty decent. Make the call. Slow the game down real quick. Pause it. Do something. But I don't know. To have a third down, then you go at first down, then they say, oh no, it's fourth down. That's ridiculous.
The refs messed up big time here, but I don't want to slam them too much because it's human error. It's going to happen no matter what. As humans, players make mistakes all the time, coaches make mistakes all the time, and refs are going to make mistakes at time. But they deserve 100% of the blame for flopping that. I'm not saying they cost the Redskins the game, but they definitely botched that. You can't. One guy is signaling third down, the other guy's telling the chain people to come up, and it says first down. So, Kyle Shanahan, the Redskins coaching staff, believe is a first down, and they went for a first down play, and they went deep to Fred Davis. And if they thought it was 3rd and inches, maybe they would have ran a QB sneak or ran something different, maybe a screen play, to just try to get their first down and keep their momentum going. But that messed up their whole mental. It took them out of focus after that confusion and stuff like that. So it did hurt them pretty bad at the end, and the refs do deserve a lot of flack that they're going to receive. But the reason it happened is because the Redskins are charging, they're getting yards, and the pressure is on these refs. To get every single call right is pretty tough. So it was just the pressure of the refs, and I don't think the first guy that did how he positions the ball after the ball is down, the play is down. I don't think he ever signaled to the other ref it was first or third, and maybe that's why he got confused. So it was miscommunication by the refs there, and they deserve what they're going to receive after this. So, and I know refs get fined, so he's going to receive a fine after, but it's just not publicized.
If you guys are new to the Red Zone Blitz, hit us up on Facebook, facebook.com/WakeUpItsFootball. You can catch Ezra at facebook.com/IdiotSportsTalk. You guys can also check us out on Twitter And if you guys got any comments, throw those down in the FanDuel comment box. We'll get to those shortly. But I think I want to ask you, Ezra. This came up earlier today, and I thought it was very interesting. I think we can have a nice long debate about this. If you haven't seen it yet, which I think you probably already have, and many of the NFL fans out there have seen, you see Mike Tomlin standing on the sideline, and he's playing the Ravens. It's a special teams play where they're punting the ball away. Jacoby Jones catches the ball. He starts to run. He breaks a few tackles. He's down the sideline. And guess where Mike Tomlin's at? He's on the field. He's standing on that 6 foot white sideline area where he's not supposed to be.
It was on the field of play, plain and simple.
Cereal?
Yeah, I don't know. I just had some cereal. I had some Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which is amazing.
All right. Point is this, right? Jacoby Jones is about to pass Mike Tomlin, and Mike Tomlin does one of these. He kind of looks like, oh, I got Jacoby Jones coming behind me, so he kind of takes a step like, oh, I'm going to get out the way. But when he takes that step, he puts his foot down onto the field of play to attempt to get out of Jacoby's way. Now, first of all, before we get into how Mike Tomlin and the Steelers are supposed to be penalized for this, because that's the crucial part in this whole entire thing. Do you think Mike Tomlin intentionally tried to, in some way, get in Jacoby's way, or do you think he was just kind of standing there and it just kind of happened so fast it was an accident?
That's tough to answer. Do I think it was an intentional? A lot of people, they're going to look at it and say, hey, it was intentional, stuff like that. But when you hear about in the NFL, when players talk about him, other coaches, they talk about he's a stand-up guy, he's a disciplined guy, and he's not all about that. He's not a dirty coach in any stretch of the imagination that you heard from other people. So from outside looking in, I would like to say no. But my point is, intentional or not, he deserves a heavy fine. And I've actually heard, I think this was the NFL Network that was reporting this, is not official obviously, that the NFL is actually thinking about stripping some draft picks from the Steelers over this incident. That's a serious penalty. I don't think it should go.
Stupid penalty.
I don't think it should go that far, but Mike Tomlin deserves to be heavily fined. I'm talking about maybe $100,000.
They're talking six figures.
It should be $100,000, not only because you interfered in the game, okay, intentionally or not. You put a player in danger, okay? Let's say Jacoby Jones didn't avoid Mike Tomlin and decided, like a lot of people were saying, you should have ran him over. Let's say if he did. Let's say he got tripped up and broke his leg. You don't know what can happen, okay, in a freak accident like that. Maybe Jacoby Jones doesn't play football again. That's the type of risk that Mike Tomlin put an NFL player in. Okay, he could have ended his career. That I'm not saying it would have happened, but that's a possibility, and he should be heavily fined for that, for such stupidity. And no other coach should. And other coaches, he's got to be made an example of. You don't want coaches jumping on the field while players are running around.
What? Okay, let's compare this to the time where the what was it? Training staff member of the Jets did the same thing to a player on a kickoff return, where I don't know if he was a gunner or who he was or whatever the player was doing. He was pretty much out of bounds. He was trying to get back into the field to play, and the guy trips him. One of the training people on the Jets. I remember
it was I think a training coach, a strength coach for the Jets. And when that came out, you guys know, most of you know, I'm a big-time Jets fan. I called for his head right after that game. That was a disgusting display. And I believe the Jets did fire him, and the NFL fined him about $50,000, and he doesn't make, Mike Tomlin money. So when that happened, that guy needed to go. He did, and obviously I don't think the Steelers or the NFL is going to get rid of Mike Tomlin over this incident because he didn't intentionally trip someone. He didn't trip anybody. It wasn't as far as that, but That incident was disgusting. That guy needed to go, and hopefully he's not in the NFL today. But Mike Tomlin, he needs to be fined.
Okay. Now he needs to be fined. That's fine. It comes down to whether you think he intentionally intended to trip up or get into the way or, in some kind of way alter Jacoby Jones' path to the end zone. Okay. Now, to me, I would probably side 60-40 with it was intentional. It was just so iffy. It's like, what is he doing? Why is he so close to the field? What was it, a mistake? I don't know. But let's just say it wasn't. Let's say he intentionally went out and tried to get in Jacoby Jones' way. Fine him. Set an example like you just said. And I'm hearing like you just mentioned, 6 figures. Cool. Draft picks should be out of the equation. Draft picks would be ridiculous. How can you measure draft picks into this equation? As in, which draft pick do you strip away? A first rounder or a 7th rounder? Do you take it away in the 2014 draft? Do you take away in the 2015 draft? Why are you even considering taking draft picks away?
I can understand why they're considering it. Like I said, you potentially put a player in danger. Plain and simple. And they just had this lawsuit, okay, giving away hundreds of millions of dollars because concussion safety and stuff like that. And now you got a coach potentially putting players in danger. I understand the consideration. Do I think they need to go that far? No. But if this kind of talk scares other coaches from doing stupid stuff like this, I'm all for it, okay? Because if I'm Jacoby Jones, if I'm a player out there and I have to worry about coaches jumping on the field, we got a problem. And if Mike Tomlin would have tripped me and if I'm Jacoby Jones, how about I give you a school bus uppercut? Not the school bus, the public bus uppercut. How would that feel? I would have done that because you just put me in jeopardy. You put my money, my millions of dollars that's not guaranteed in jeopardy. An uppercut would have been warranted, and it would have been, I'd have been fine with it. Plain and simple as a fan, if you would have uppercutted him. I'm just saying if it got that far. But
how about the Sharkeisha power punch?
I haven't seen that one, but I've been seeing a lot of great memes over it, so I got to check out that video. But it's that serious. I'm looking at the whole picture here. I'm looking at it from the player's perspective here. Even if you're a coach, it was just no one should agree that this should be taken lightly.
Yeah, but I don't think the entire team or the entire organization needs to be penalized with draft picks being taken away. I mean, just even talking and mentioning that is just stupid.
And like they always say, management is held to a higher standard.
Okay, but so you're telling me that GM was responsible to.
But it shouldn't have. I don't think. Were the Patriots? I don't know if did they lose draft picks over Spygate?
I believe they did. I want to say they lost. I know Bountygate. The Saints lost the second round selection.
Okay,
I can't remember what the Patriots lost. If they lost any draft picks, I can't remember.
Okay, I'm just trying to see. If you're talking about integrity of game and safety, stuff like that. I don't remember them losing any draft. I know they got heavily fined for Spygate. It's just I understand the consideration. Okay, maybe I would have supported like a 6th round draft pick taken away, but anything higher than that, you seriously going after the Steelers here. Maybe anything higher than that, I'd be like, okay, maybe no one got hurt. Okay, Jones did avoid him, and thankfully it was just a situation we're talking about now. But it's just a potential danger there, and that's why they're considering it, and I back that up.
I'm backing up the fine. If they get any draft selections taken away, that would be ridiculous. But let's move on from the Steelers and the Ravens. Let's move on to today's game, some of the games that happened at noon. Let's head to the NFC North. You had the Bears and the Vikings showdown there. The game ended 23-20 in overtime, and at one point, some people were thinking the Vikings could go ahead and tie 2 games in a row. But this one ended very late in the overtime on a Blair Walsh field goal. Now, things got interesting late in the game when the Vikings tied this game up at 20 apiece. They took this game into overtime. Now, Blair Walsh actually kicked a game-winning field goal in overtime to defeat the Bears, but there was a penalty called on the play. There was a face mask called on the Vikings, which was 15 yards, pushed them back. They attempted the field goal yet again. Blair Walsh misses that field goal. The Bears then take the ball over from the spot, which was a very great field position. The Bears attempt to kick about, I believe it was a 48-yarder, I want to say somewhere in that neighborhood. Robbie Gould could not get it in. So the Vikings, again, have an opportunity to win the game. A couple of good AP runs, and they were able to kick the field goal to win that one, 23-20. This puts Chicago at 6-6, and this puts the Vikings at 3-8-1. But another game that the Bears needed to win to keep up with the Lions in that division, to kind of push the Packers off of them, but they couldn't get it done. Now, this had some implications for other teams in the NFC North, such as the Packers, to where now the Packers don't really have to worry about the Bears. If the Packers win all of their games, the only team they have to worry about in that division is the Lions, and the Lions would have to go 2-2. So, as a Packer fan, this was a much-needed win for the Packers, a much-needed loss for the Bears. But here's the interesting thing about this game. Josh McCown, 355 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Adrian Peterson, 211 yards rushing, he had 35 carries, 6.0 yards per carry there. Alshon Jeffrey, 249 yards receiving.
He had a boss day.
You had a 200-yard receiver, a 200-yard rusher, a 300-yard passer. You had an overtime where everyone's missing field goals. This game was actually very exciting. Not too sure if you were able to catch it, but any thoughts on some kind of playoff implications or any of that nature?
Well, this is as a team that I picked to go to the Super Bowl, the Bears. Not a lot of people agree with me. This was a killer loss for them. Not saying this is going to end their season, but it puts them on the brink of ending their season. The Lions won a big game this past Thanksgiving. They crushed your Packers. They ate Matt Flynn alive. They had an early turkey on Thanksgiving. Oh man, munching them. I'm sorry, I'm bringing back memories there. But the Bears, this is the game you needed to win. These are the types of quote unquote gimmies you need to win in a tight playoff race. This is the one that's going to bite them in the ass at the end of the year when they're out of the playoffs, one game short. They should have won this game. I don't want to put all the blame on their kicker, Gold. He's been a productive, almost automatic kicker for them for years. This year, too, is just he couldn't get it done in this game. But this is the type of game, the momentum killer, that just ruins your season. And it's funny. You talk about Alshon Jeffries had this huge game. There's another wide receiver that had a huge game. His second back-to-back 200-yard game, and Josh Gordon, he also lost. Just because you have big performance doesn't mean you're going to win in NFL. And if you go back to that Mike Tomlin talk, I want to say that was the only entertaining game. The Steelers and Ravens, that was a beautiful game on Thanksgiving, and the only entertaining game of that evening. Just wanted to give a little shout out there, and the Ravens won a big one too.
They needed that win. The Packers and the Lions game, 40-10. First of all, not entertaining, and second of all, being an avid Packers fan, honestly, one of the worst games I've ever seen them play. No offensive production. Our defense,
no offensive line production. It was Matt Flynn had. I'm not blaming that loss on him. Okay, he had no chance in that game. No chance.
He didn't.
What was the game? I think it was the Giants versus the Bears. Remember a couple years ago when the Giants had like 9 sacks in the first half versus Jay Cutler? It was kind of that kind of game versus the Lions and Packers. It was that offensive line had no chance against the Lions D-line.
While we're on the subject of the Packers, there was a report today that came out saying that Aaron Rodgers is not going to come back this season. The Packers are going to rest him. They're not going to worry about playing him, all this stuff. Well, interesting news. Aaron Rodgers said that he's not going to play another snap of football until he's 30 years old. Ezra, you want to guess when Aaron Rodgers turns 30 years old?
Tomorrow.
No, he turns 30 on Monday. Or wait, is it Monday?
Tomorrow is Monday.
Tomorrow is Monday. See,
and I just took a random guess there, to be honest.
tomorrow is Monday. I don't know my days of the week anymore, but yeah, tomorrow is Monday, and guess what? He's gonna be 30. And what is he saying? He's implying that he wants to play, he wants to come back, he's gonna be starting. So we'll see how that goes. Usually, the doctor who's been taking care of Aaron Rodgers has come out and said that with the fracture that he suffered in his collarbone, he likes to hold off on bringing players back until about 8 weeks. And this is going to be about 4 weeks for Aaron. So if it was a slight fracture, we still honestly, nobody really knows the extent of this injury except for the doctors and Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't come out. It's not a complete break. If it was a complete break, he'd be probably out for the season. It was more probably like a slight fracture, but if he comes back against the Falcons, the Packers need to win out to have any kind of a shot or any kind of a hope to make the playoffs by winning the NFC North and getting some help from the Lions. As a Packers fan,
David, do you want them to sit him or play him?
That's an awesome question because you can go both ways with it. You can take the approach of let's rest Aaron Rodgers, let's rest the face of this franchise, because even if we do get into the playoffs, how far is this team going to go? This defense is awful. Our offensive line is banged up. We have injuries all over the place. Even if we win out, we get help from the Lions losing, and we win this division, how far is this team going to go? I don't think they would go far in the playoffs. On the other hand, there's a part of me that still is just holding out hope that the Packers go on a 4-game winning streak, the Lions go 2-2, the Packers win this division, and then we see what they do. Because in 2010, the Packers had so many injuries, and they started getting healthy at the right time. They started getting hot at the right time. They go into the playoffs as a 6th seed with a 10-6 record, and they win the Super Bowl. So you just never know. As long as you get a ticket to make it in the playoffs, you never know. So a part of me says, I don't want to risk Aaron Rodgers getting hurt even more. And a part of me says, I want to make the playoffs because I want to see where this team can actually go. Even though the defense hasn't been playing, they probably couldn't cover middle school wide receivers right now. Seriously, it's that bad. So I don't know if I can answer that question right now.
Oh, come on. Don't be a...
Okay, I'm going to answer that question.
Yeah, let's answer that question, okay, buddy?
I want Aaron Rodgers to come back, and I want the Packers to go to the playoffs.
I understand as a fan, you want to see your team in the playoffs. I would love to see that too. It ain't happening, kid, for my team, okay? But I'm not risking my superstar QB if we have that many problems, because if it's not fully healed, no. If I was in a situation with my Jets, no, I say sit it out. I say sit it out because, you got an elite QB who can be the top QB in the NFL for years, for another 4 or 5 years, and you don't want to take that risk because your most important position in football is the QB position, and if you lose your team, and you see how your Packers has been playing the last couple weeks without Aaron Rodgers. They need him, and they need him for the long term. I know you lost the season if you sit him out, but it is what it is. Okay, the Lions have to go 2-2, and as of right now, that doesn't look very likely. Is it possible? Yes, because it is the Lions, okay, that we're talking about. But the display that they just showed this past Thanksgiving was a great one, and hopefully they're clicking on all cylinders right now if you're a Detroit fan, and it's just going 2-2 on 70% Aaron Rodgers hoping to go 4-game winning streak. It doesn't look likely. If I was you, I'll make it like the Bulls and sit out Derrick Rose and just hope he doesn't pull another Derrick Rose and be out for the season next year.
No, I mean, with the Bulls, they don't got a choice because Derrick Rose is out for the season regardless. But since we're talking about my Packers, let's talk about your Jets. Let's talk about the matchup they had with the Dolphins earlier today. and I want to get your take on this. And then on the phone we have our quote-unquote Dolphins insider, my buddy Sean Coyle, who will be joining us here. Ezra, first of all, I want to get your take on this.
My take is, isn't this a football channel? Okay.
This is a football channel.
Well, what I saw today was not football. Okay, it was a disgrace. So we shouldn't even be talking about the Jets right now, and especially that offense. It's a joke. Geno Smith. You know how many passing yards we had in the third quarter? Do you know how many passing yards we had in the third quarter? 39 yards in the third quarter, passing yards. That's how many we had, okay, to start the third quarter.
Yeah, Geno looked
and
terrible.
I don't want to put all the blame on Geno Smith. I really don't. But like I said the last couple weeks, he needs to be benched, and Rex Ryan finally pulled him, okay? And Matt Sims, he didn't do much better, but he got a first down. You should know, it was incredible seeing a first down from my Jets. It's just they don't have – this is what Mark Sanchez, Geno Smith, Matt Sims, and any other quarterback will suffer in the future if they don't get any playmakers, some real wide receivers for the quarterback. This is what they all have been dealing with.
Okay, but you're arguing that Geno Smith needs receivers. Is it Geno Smith?
I'm not saying Geno Smith. I'm saying anybody who plays quarterback for the Jets needs weapons.
I understand.
Not even weapons. I'm not even asking for Percy Harvins, Larry Fitzgerald. I'm asking about productive, professional NFL receivers. We have one.
Is it not the fact that Geno Smith is playing really bad right now?
No, it's a combination of both. He is garbage right now. I totally agree with you. But when you have garbage mixed with more garbage, you just get trash. That's all you get. That's all we got. We just got trash, David. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You know what I'm saying? And Rex Ryan is the garbage man right now. He's taking out the trash onto that field. That's all it is. No matter what you get next year, if you don't get these guys replaced, no matter the next QB, he will be playing with trash also. And this is what Mark Sanchez, Geno Smith, Matt Sims have to play with. And it's a combination.
That offense is a mess.
It's not an offense. It's just players on that side of the ball. Let's not even call it an offense.
That defense is what's keeping you in games.
Yes, and you know what? The time of possession was something ridiculous. It was like 5 minutes the Jets had it, while the Dolphins had it for 19 minutes of possession in the first half. It was something ridiculous like that. The defense can't stay on the field for that long and expect to shut down the offense the whole game. They get tired. And you know what? And when you're on the field for that long, offense, you start seeing tendencies. The game slows down for a quarterback, and it just gets easier for an offense when they're on the field for that long. And they just took advantage of my Jets. And you saw with if you watched the game, the Jets started having missed tackles, and they just couldn't hold anybody down because they were so tired. The offense is affecting the whole team. The whole team. And it's just going to be a problem until the offseason. We had our chance at 5-4. We had position of the second wild card, and now we're 5-7 at the brink of elimination.
Was there any positives you can take away from today's game at all?
When the clock went 0, that was my positive, okay? When the clock hit 0 is my only positive on the offensive side of the ball. Defense, Sheldon Richardson is a stud. That's what I can say. Dean Miller, I actually saw him swat down a ball, if you want to talk about him finally doing something in the game. The defense is the positive. Plain and simple. Chris Ivory, tough runner, positive. But when your leading receiver is Curley with 330 or 80-something yards with, 12 games into the season, it's just you got problems. Okay, the offensive side of the ball, 0 positives. All right. Defense, I can see the positives over the special teams. We did it all right. Josh Cribbs has been doing a good job on special teams, but this team is a joke.
All right, so we got our Dolphins insider on here. Got Sean Coyle, buddy here. We had the Dolphins. What was the score, Ezra?
We got 23-3.
23-3. All right. So, Sean, first of all, what was a positive that you think you can take away from the Dolphins' win against the Jets today?
Positives, I mean, I can take out that Tannehill can nail those short and medium routes. I think we've established that he is now just a West Coast quarterback. And you know what? Another big positive, Brian Hartline. Brian Hartline's catching everything in sight, man. I mean, if Tannehill doesn't underthrow him on that deep ball, then he's got a big gain right there. And you know what? Mike Wallace did something again this week. Dolphins fans are happy.
What did he do?
So.
Well, oh, okay. All right. I thought
he pimped Dean Milliner. That's what he did. He put him on that corner and make him some money. That's what he did.
So Sean, was there any negatives in this win today that you can probably point out against the Jets?
The negatives again, man. It's just Tannehill can't throw a deep ball whatsoever. He can't locate it. I mean, I'm agreeing with like what Ezra said last week, man. He can't throw a deep ball for nothing. But you know what? I got to give my hat's tip to the Jets defense, man. They did actually a great job of shutting down the run, even though they gave up 80, 90 some odd yards. But they still did a great job on that. You know what? That defense was just playing tired. That offense is terrible for the Jets.
So what's the Dolphins' record now?
They're 6-6. They're tied with Baltimore for the second wild card, but the Ravens have the advantage over us because they beat us earlier in the year.
Okay. And I know last week you said that you still have hopes that the Dolphins make the playoffs, considering that they play the Jets, they play the Steelers, two teams that they really need to kind of jump over to secure a second wild card spot. Now, they did that against the Jets. Do you think they do it against the Steelers?
I mean, that's exactly what I said last week. If we can beat the Jets and Pittsburgh, we have a good shot, because I don't think we have a chance in hell to beat New England, to be blatantly honest. So, I mean, we should have won that game earlier in the year. All in all, really the only game we should have lost this year was to the Saints. But, we're 6-6 right now. We're in the hunt. We got, I don't know, we pretty much, if the Ravens lose one, we control our own destiny. But right now, I'd love to see them make the playoffs, but I don't know if they can come up in crunch time, and I don't know if they're that mentally tough to actually get there. I would be shocked if they finished better than 9-7.
Now, I wish I could get you and Ezra to talk about the game, but I don't know how I would do that. Since I got you on the phone, I got Ezra on the laptop here. I don't know.
I know the Dolphins' offensive line deserve a lot of credit today. They played great.
Hold on, Sean. 1 second. Sorry. Go ahead, Ezra.
No, I was just telling Sean, or if you want to tell him, that the Dolphins' offensive line, I know it's been a weak point of their team all season long, but today, against the Jets, they played pretty well. And their schemes were on point, and they deserve a lot of credit. And Mike Wallace, he's been coming alive the last couple weeks. He's been earning his money. He's been making his money. So they deserve a lot of credit right there.
Say that again, Sean.
The past 3 weeks, Mike Wallace has been making his money.
The past 3 weeks. I mean, we kind of sit here and debate about Mike Wallace all season long, and did he deserve that $60 million contract? Do teams who go out and sign these lucrative deals to all these big name players, do they actually pay out in the end? I don't know if you can answer that question with a yes, but
well, see, I don't know. I guess it's just what the market sets. I mean, like we've been talking in the off season, it's just what the market sets. He was the top receiver available, and you got to pay to get. So I don't know if he was worth 60. He'd maybe be worth more in the 40 range, in my opinion. But like I said, you got to pay to get, and he's been executing the past 3 weeks, so I can't complain. I mean, as I've been saying all year, you just got to run him on them short curl routes and get him in a slant or two, and then throw deep. That's what he's going to do. If you get the ball in his hands, he's going to try and make something happen.
That is Sean Coyle, Dolphins insider for the show. Sean, next week maybe we can see if we can get you and Ezra I don't know, a bit of a collaboration because we got you on the phone, we got Ezra on the laptop. I don't know how we would work that out, but we appreciate you taking the call, man.
For sure, man. Hey, you guys, great show. Keep it up, man.
All right, thank you. All right, that was Sean Coyle, Dolphins insider for the Red Zone Blitz. I don't know if we want to make it official. Like 18 Lockhart says, official, unofficial. So, I mean, the Jets are
a joke.
There you go. There you have it. One word, a joke. Now, I don't know if we want to sit here and beat a dead horse so we can move on. Carolina, on the other hand, Carolina, not a joke. Carolina's the real deal. And they defeated a Bucs team who was on a 3-game winning streak, who some people thought that, you know what, they might finish this season strong. Panthers beat the Buccaneers 27-6 today. Panthers are now at 9-3. Bucs are now at 3-9. It was really, a solid performance. I wouldn't say solid just because Cam threw 2 interceptions, but it was a decent enough performance to get the W from Cam Newton. He had 263 yards and 2 touchdowns with 2 picks. But he's also the leading rusher for the team. He had 5 carries for 68 yards and a touchdown. So Cam Newton is honestly, I think, the only solid or the only real read option QB in the NFL. The only guy who can actually confuse offenses and actually be successful when you run the read option. Not a fan of Kaepernick. Not a fan of RG3 who's got a bummed knee. So right now Cam Newton, he's the real deal. So I'm gonna take the Panthers as one of those teams who will snag a wild card spot for sure. 9-3, I don't see why they're gonna stumble.
Forget about wild card. Seahawks, 49ers, Saints better be scared of the Panthers playoff time. That defense is probably, you can make an argument, it's probably the best out of those teams that I mentioned. All right. Yes,
better than the Seahawks.
Yes, I include the Seahawks. Yes, I say it's an argument. Okay. Let's not act like the Seahawks are unbeatable here. Look at their schedule. Okay, let's be serious. Who they beat. And I'm not saying they're better than the Seahawks. I'm not going that far, David. So don't start shaking your head. But like I said, they have a legit defense, and you just mentioned Cam Newton. He is a weapon on the offensive side of the ball. He's not lighting it up. He's not scoring 4 touchdowns each game like Peyton Manning or Nick Foles. But he is a guy that can explode for 4, 5 touchdowns in a game. He's just a weapon when you need him to be. And they got a reliable receiver in Steve Smith, and a tight end in Greg Olsen. Their running backs, D'Angelo Williams can bust out a decent game once in a while now, but that defense, Cam Newton, is a dangerous combination, and I think teams need to be very scared and aware of the Carolina Panthers. This is 7 straight victories now, right? 7 straight?
This is 8 straight.
8 straight. This team is balling. This team is balling, and they got in a formula that works in the playoffs.
Do you think they can win in a shootout?
Well, who's going to be in a shootout with them besides the Saints?
New Orleans. They still have to play New Orleans. Hey. They got to play New Orleans twice.
I understand. That's what I'm saying. That's the only team that you have to concern yourself with in a shootout.
Denver.
You really don't have to worry about that
in
with
the Super Bowl.
In a Super Bowl, if you make it against I'm talking about the
Denver.
NFC. If you're talking about the Super Bowl, maybe the Broncos if are there. Who else? In the AFC, when you want to talk about shootout, the Chargers,
New England maybe.
But New Chargers, maybe New England.
But they did play New England, and we saw what happened with the whole Kuechly and the hold with Gronk. At the end
they
of
were
that
not
game.
Intimidated of New England, even if they lost. Let's say they lost that game, they just showed they're not intimidated. They're in that class. They stood up with the big boys, plain and simple. Even if they lost the game, they showed New England, we can play with you guys, even if it's up to the last minute. But they did win that game, so let's not forget that fact either.
The thing that ticks me off is I was a year early on the Panthers. Last year, I picked the Panthers to be a wild card team just because I saw the potential that they had. This year, I don't know what I was thinking. Honestly, I don't know what I was thinking when I did these predictions. I had them ranked last in the NFC, and I'm not afraid to admit that. My video's still out there on YouTube. But here's why I had them last. I legitimately thought that the Buccaneers were going to actually be a team who were going to be solid. I thought the Bucs was going to, with all the pieces that they brought in with Revis and Goldson and all those guys, I thought they were going to be solid.
And I don't think anybody saw the progression, not of Cam Newton or anything like that, as that defense.
Yeah.
That defense, like I said, I think you can make an argument top 3, top 5 in the NFL, defenses in the NFL. I don't think anybody envisioned that. But now they're believing in that Rivera system, and the players have progressed, and it's coming all together. So I think that defense is the main reason why they're surprising a lot of people.
And the thing about that defense that, people need to take account for is the younger guys on that defense. Luke Kuechly, Star Lotulelei, Kawan Short. These are all the guys that play in the middle positions on the D tackle, in the D line, D tackles, and Kuechly playing middle linebacker. These guys are very young. Kuechly's second year in the league, Short and Lotulelei first year in the league, and they're getting the job done. They're getting after the quarterback. They're pressuring QBs up the middle. They're swatting balls down. Kuechly led the league in tackles last season, won Defensive Rookie of the Year. This defense is not a joke, and in order to besides the argument of having an elite pass rusher on your team, which I don't know the Panthers do. I don't think they have an elite pass rusher on their team. But the second, I think, most important thing that you need to have with a defense is to be solid up the middle. You're not going to allow players to run north and south on you up the middle. You need to push them out east and west, which allows your defense a little bit more time to tackle opposing running backs. It gives opposing quarterbacks a little bit less time when you're getting pressure up the middle to do what they want with you against your secondary. So what I'm trying to say here is those three guys I think have been contributing a lot for being young players, and they really hit on those guys in the draft. So they did a good job with those three defensive players, and they drafted them pretty early. So
as long as they could change those stupid-looking uniforms, this team is really dangerous.
I don't think their uniforms are bad. I like their uniforms.
Well, it's just got bad taste, David. That's all.
I'm cool with their uniforms, man. I've never had an argument against too many uniforms, except when you get teams putting throwbacks like the Steelers Bumblebees and the Seahawks with those lime green.
See, I like the Seahawks uniform.
No, with those lime green popsicle-looking things. No,
man,
those are ugly.
The Lions got nice uniforms. The Chargers, when they go throwback powder blue, whoo, smoking. Those are nice, man.
You know what my favorite is? I like the Cardinals when they wear their black and red jerseys.
I like the Cardinals one, but the Panthers, so their uniform is trash, but the team is awesome. Okay, they're clicking right now.
Speaking of clicking, we're about to be clicking on all cylinders. We're going to be checking out the FanDuel comment box in a moment. We're going to tackle one more matchup that happened today, and then we will get to your guys' comments. Can't talk. I might need some sleep, which I plan on getting tonight. But I'm going to ask you, Ezra. I don't know if you have a tab pulled up right now, but is there any matchup that kind of intrigued you today? Or any kind of matchup that you kind of want to talk about? Because right now I have my eye on one of them.
Man, maybe the Chiefs and Broncos. I don't know. Maybe I'm going with the sexy pick real quick. The Chiefs jumped off to a nice lead, and then, like we predicted throughout the year, we just didn't believe the Chiefs' offense can compete or keep up with the Broncos. And Eric Decker, come on. Out of all the wide receiver performances today, I know a lot of people are talking about Josh Gordon's and Jeffrey's performance, but Eric Decker, 4 touchdowns. The Chiefs, who everybody says has the best defense in the NFL, could not hold, compete. Look at Eric Decker today. He absolutely dominated the Chiefs today. Okay, everybody wants to give Peyton Manning the huge credit because he had 5 touchdowns and he is, the almighty one, which he deserves. But today, Eric Decker was the MVP of the Broncos offense, and the Chiefs had no answer for them. But it helps that when you have Wes Welker, Thomas, their tight end Thomas, they have so many weapons around them, it just opens up holes for any of these guys, and it just shows anybody can come up with a 3-4 touchdown performance on this team. The Broncos offense is stacked, and it just showed once again that it just overcame the best defense in the NFL. And Alex Smith, he deserves some credit. He was playing really good in that first half. He made some throws out there, but he's not the type of guy for a shootout. So I think the Chiefs need to some kind of way avoid the Broncos in the playoffs, because I think that's the one team, that can knock them out. Every other team, I will give them a fairly good chance against.
Yeah, and I mean the Chiefs' pass rushers are banged up right now, so you got to give credit to the Chiefs for at least sticking in with the Broncos today. Justin Houston and Tamba Hali banged up last week. I think it was Houston. Who did I just say? Not Tamba Hali. Is it Houston? Gosh, this is gonna take me off. Houston Jackson is why do I want to say Houston Jackson? That doesn't
Isn't it
sound
Justin
right.
Houston?
Justin Houston, Houston Jackson, Michael Jackson. I don't know what I'm saying. Justin Houston, I think, is out for a couple of weeks. Tamba Hali, I don't think his injury was as serious. But those are the 2 guys who have really been keeping that defense top 5 this season so far, just because of the pressure they've been able to get on opposing quarterbacks week in and week out. I want to say Justin Houston was leading the league in sacks up to a certain point. I'm going to take a look at the statistics here for a second. He might still be in the top 5. As for sacks, you got Justin Houston at 11. He's ranked 3rd in the league when it comes to sacks. Those are the kind of guys you want out on the field. And right now he's out. RotoWire has the injury report here. Let me get the exact injury. Oh, look at that! It's an ad that I can't check it out.
But
Don't you like that stuff?
I know people want to talk about, well, you want to stop Peyton Manning, you gotta have pass rushers. If you want to stop any quarterback, you want to have pass rushers, and the Chiefs have that. And today, like you said, those guys are hurt, but that's the key to success when you're going up against a great QB. You want to take him off his timing. You want him on the run, especially Peyton Manning, because he runs slower than I don't know, Twinkie, if Twinkies can run. But but it's just that's the key to success. They didn't have that today, and if they want a chance at the Broncos, you got to have those guys come from around the corner and hitting him. You want to hit Peyton Manning often. You want to mess up his timing. So it just didn't get done today.
We're heading to the FanDuel comment box. We're going to check out your guys' comments, check out your guys' questions, and check out your guys' concerns. But first and foremost, today's Red Zone Blitz is brought to you by FanDuel.com. Join a one-day league for real money. League winners get their money instantly, and a new season begins the next day. That is FanDuel.com. You must be 18 years or older to gamble. Click the link down in the description below. So let's head to the FanDuel comment box here. Hit the refresh button. See some of all the new comments trickling in. We got top comments, but I got to do newest first so we can get them in chronological order here. Wookie Collin. We got Wookie Collin. We got Ravens. We got Black Mambo. We got Miguel Gonzalez, Andre Rios, the Postman. We got everybody and anybody in here tonight. We got
New York Knicks Fly High. We got Team Boy TV Turbo. We got Travis Sports. We got a bunch of people in the thing today. And you talk about unofficial, official commentator of Red Zone Blitz. I think Wookie Collin, he's raising up those ranks. He's climbing those ranks, man.
Hey, I think he's right now. You gotta keep.
Power ranking. He's number 1 because right now he's been hot the last couple weeks. Wookie Collin gets a shout out from me. Sorry, 18 Hot Locker. Maybe you have a a social life, maybe your girlfriend. You can't be on the Red Zone Blitz on Sunday nights. It is what it is. But Wookie Collin, he's getting it done.
Wookie Collin has a comment regarding the topic in which we talked about earlier in the show with the whole Mike Tomlin, foot on the field. Did he get in Jacoby Jones's way? Here's Wookie Collin's comment. He says, I want to say it wasn't intentional, but it's hard to believe he got that close to the field just by accident. He does deserve a big fine because he very well could have impacted the game.
In some ways, he did impact the game. And another thing is, when I read this comment, it made me think another thing. Why was Collin looking the opposite of the play happening? Why was he looking this way when the play was happening this way?
I want to say he was looking up at the big screen.
That's why I don't know what he was doing, so I don't want to slam him too much. But usually coaches are watching how the play develops or what. He had his back to it, so that's kind of funny. Just saying. That's just to add to Wookie Collins' comment.
I would agree. It did look funny. Now let's go to Miguel Gonzalez here. He asked, do you think the Seahawks can beat the Saints on Monday night, or can the Saints overcome the Seahawks' home field advantage and beat them? Now, we haven't talked about this game yet so far. This game, hands down, could be the game of the season. Just because of all the hype it has, the two best NFC teams are heading to Seattle, and they're going to duke it out tomorrow night on Monday Night Football. So, Ezra, you can check it out. Wookie Collin, you can check it out. Andre Rios, the Postman, Miguel Gonzalez. You guys can all check this game out tomorrow night on Monday Night Football on ESPN. I feel like I should have just got paid for that advertisement.
Yeah, but you act like no one knows where Monday Night Football is going to be advertised. Televised at. It's ESPN. And Ezra can't watch it because Ezra will be at work. So I'm going to have to watch it on an NFL Rewind.
Hey, NFL Rewind, man. That's good stuff. But let's answer Miguel's question. Do you think the Seahawks can beat the Saints on Monday night? Or
I think it can go either way here. It's two great teams, like you just mentioned, the two best teams in the NFC going at it. I would give the advantage to the Seahawks right now because they're playing at home. And if I'm one of those guys that really doesn't care for home field advantages. But when it comes to the Seahawks, it's hard not to take notice, okay? That 12th man is serious over there. There in Arrowhead is probably the two loudest stadiums in the whole NFL, and it does affect teams. So I'm going to give the advantage to the Seahawks because, they got Russell Wilson, you got that tough defense and such, but how could you not give the Saints a chance? So you got Drew Brees, who's one of the elites. They finally have a defense in the New Orleans. It's just going to be an amazing game to watch, but I'm going to give the advantage to the Seahawks. You all right, David?
I'm thinking.
Well, it's no wonder it's taking a while.
I'm thinking. This game, like you mentioned, can go either way.
And these Seahawks, man, always getting suspended, man, for the year or something.
That's why I'm having a hard time picking this game, because I can see the Saints putting up some serious points on that defense. Everyone wants to mention how loud it's going to get in there, and Drew Brees isn't going to be able to snap the ball correctly because he's not going to be able to hear what's going on. Whatever. But I can see the Saints putting up some serious points against the Seahawks.
What's some serious points? You can see them scoring 30-something points on the Seahawks?
35. 35 would be serious points to me against the Seahawks defense.
I think 20 over 25, I think, is serious points against the Seahawks defense.
I don't see this. If that happens, I don't see the Seahawks offense keeping up. So, I mean, how many times have we seen? Oh, this is going to be a 23-20 game, and it ends up being 45-42. And how many times have we seen? Oh, this is going to be a shootout. It happens all the time. So don't be surprised if it does happen. But that's like saying don't be surprised at seeing a bus drive down the street. So I don't know. There's not much legitimacy to what I'm saying, because it could easily happen. It could easily be a low-scoring game. I don't know. But if I had to pick a team to win,
if my aunt had a sack, she'll be my uncle.
Hold on. All right, heads for Seahawks. Tails for Saints. Oh, I'm fumbling, man. I'm looking
Wow.
at Geno Smith. It's heads. Hey, who is heads against? Seahawks?
Stephen Ridley, huh? He gave you some lessons.
Yeah, Stephen Ridley gave me a couple
And he was
lessons.
inactive today. Bill Belichick did not play, and I took a serious hit there because he's on my fantasy team. But you can continue.
Hey, did anybody play against Peyton Manning and Eric Decker? Because this guy did, and I got beat pretty nasty too. So they put up over 100 points just by themselves in our IST league.
And guess what? I need you to lose this week in IST so I can make the playoffs.
Nah, that's not happening.
I gotta hope you lose, which you will. You got crushed, and now I gotta hope for Team Boy TV to not score any more points, and I gotta score a little bit more points tomorrow.
You make
so
it
I can sneak
sound
into the playoffs.
like I've been bad all season. Oh, okay.
I just said you got crushed today. That's what I need. You actually in the playoffs. You're locked in.
I am locked in.
All right, I'm talking about what I need. I don't care about
Well, then why
what
does
you
it
need or
matter
what you've
if I
done
win or
this season.
lose? Why does it matter if I win or lose?
Because there was a reason why. I forgot why.
Okay, yeah.
But
Yeah.
why did I need you to lose? Maybe because I want to see you to lose. I don't know.
Oh, you funny now. You're funny. All right, man. Let's head to the FanDuel comment box. Andre Rios wants to know what happened to the Jets, but we already explained that. I don't think we want to get on that subject again. The postman says Green Bay could put up some game time into their rookies, meaning maybe, I don't know what that means exactly. Andre Rios has a specific question for you. I know you mentioned D. Milner earlier today. If you want to get on this, go ahead. How do you feel about D. Milner?
I wish he was never drafted.
Okay.
There you go, buddy.
All right, moving on. Wookie Collin. As a Lions fan, I would think the best option is to rest Rodgers until he's 100%. I truly don't believe they have all the players available to win out this season, meaning win out the last 4 games to even try to make a playoff push and win that division. Ezra said the same thing. He thinks, Packers should bench Rodgers and let him heal up. I think you could do either way, and I wouldn't mind either one, but I wouldn't mind seeing the Packers attempt to make a playoff push. So, Andre Rios, question from him: who will win the 6th wildcard spot in the AFC? Good question, considering you got the Ravens still alive, Dolphins, the Jets I think are actually mathematically still alive, Steelers and Titans, and I might be missing it, Chargers. So we got 6 teams still fighting for that last wildcard spot. If you had to pick one team, who would it be?
I apologize for that. I was looking at my my fantasy standings, but 6C right now is the Dolphins, Ravens fighting for it. I'm gonna go with the Steelers. And I know they're 1 game back. I know this, and they're gonna need some help. But something. The Steelers or the Chargers? No, they lost to the Chargers. They lost to the Bengals, correct?
Yes.
And they were playing real good. I thought they won for a second. But I like the Steelers. Sneaking in out of nowhere. It's just, in the NFL, you think something is set in stone, like the Cowboys winning a division, or something among those lines, and something comes out of nowhere. I think the Steelers, I know they had a rough loss this past Thanksgiving, but they've been on a roll. They've been playing a lot better lately, and I think it's going to roll their way towards the end of the year. And Joe Flacco, who I'm not a big fan of, he hasn't the greatest season all year. I think he finds a way to lose the game this year.
Oh yeah, and guess what? He didn't have too great of a season last year, but when it came to the postseason, 11 touchdowns and no interceptions. So
yeah.
I'm putting my faith in the defending Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, guess what? They don't have Bolden anymore, who I think was the real MVP.
Who I think
was the real MVP of the Ravens last year's playoffs.
Just because he can catch a football, but
That's
what?
right. When he can catch a football that was poorly thrown, that was a jump ball, and my man came down with it. Yeah, that Bolden.
Was it always poorly thrown? Because if it was
Yes,
poorly,
when it came
how many times was it poorly thrown to the point where it was intercepted? Because if it was in the postseason, that would be zero.
That happened. He was a boss. He was taking
That was
cornbread.
a goose egg.
He didn't like those ham sandwiches that Joe Flacco's throwing to him.
I'm picking the Ravens. That's my team. I'm going with the defending Super Bowl champs to win the last wild card spot. Now, going through the comments, it's a dislocated elbow for Houston, of the Kansas City Chiefs. Can Peyton Manning play in playoff weather conditions, cold and snowy and miserable, like it was in New England? That comes from Elliot Mock.
Well, he has no other choice. He plays in Denver. Am I right? It's going to be miserable and cold over there. I know he hasn't had the best record in that type of conditions. And we spoke about this a little bit last week. Not everybody can be Brett Favre. I say yes. All in all, yes. He had a chance versus New England in that game. They jumped to that big lead. He did play like crap in the second half. But as long as their defense and their running game, I think Peyton Manning, maybe he won't throw up 5 touchdowns, but he can be an above-average quarterback in that type of conditions. And that's what you need to be in the playoffs. But it's a team effort. Team effort. Not one guy carrying the team.
Okay, the final 2 teams that Peyton Manning narrowed it down to when he was selecting the team that he wanted to go to as a free agent was Denver and was Arizona. And where does Arizona play? They play in a dome stadium. The Colts, when he was with them for his entire career, they played in a stadium that was also a dome. So that went into strong consideration when he was picking the last 2 teams. Now, the reason why he chose Denver was because of John Elway and John Fox and some of the players that were already there. Even though that if he went to Arizona, he would have been playing with Larry Fitzgerald and some elite defensive talent like a Patrick Peterson. But don't you think he would have already taken into consideration where he would be playing and the weather conditions that he might possibly play in when he chose a destination like Denver? To me, he had to have taken every single aspect of the franchise that he was going to go to into consideration. So, to me, I don't think the weather is going to bother him just because he feels like he can play in a dome, or he feels like he can play when it's 20 degrees outside and it's a blizzard. So, I don't think Peyton Manning is worried about the weather, even though I think Ezra mentioned his record isn't too hot when it comes to poor weather conditions. We have to look that up. I want to see if we can find a stat on that. And speaking of the Colts, Andre Rios wants to know, he says, why do the Colts fans keep making excuses for Trent
Dancerson.
Dancerson. He's terrible. Deal with it. That's what Andre Rios says.
Which means, David, deal with it. It was a terrible deal.
I still look. It makes the Colts look stupid. It really does. You gave up a first-round draft selection for Trent Richardson at the time of the trade, at the night of the trade, when the deal broke.
The Browns front office, they took it back. They took us to the Soul Train. They went down the office. They played that music when that deal happened because, oh, baby, they got a first rounder for a guy that's averaging 2.3 per carry or some crap like that.
But at the time, listen.
Dancing, they did the Harlem Shake a little bit?
No Harlem Shake. Hey, you know what? I might have to kick you off the Red Zone Blitz for that. Listen, seriously, Trent Richardson at the time of when he got traded, right?
He was a bum. That's what he was. He was a bum when he got traded. He was still averaging 2 point something per carry. Or was it 3.1?
Decent to you last season in his rookie campaign?
He had 950 yards with a 3 point something per carry.
How many touchdowns did he have?
Like 8.
What percent would you, if you had to just go off the top of your head, what percent of his the Browns' offense was he last season? 40 by himself, maybe.
Let's say it was 40%. Did they suck? Yes, they did suck with him. Yes, of course they did. Okay, that's all. That's all. If a player,
can't make that argument though, you can't just say he sucks and that's it. Let's move on.
All I'm saying is he did not really improve them. That's my point. It's
My
not
point
like
is, what other elite talent besides...
all I know is since they traded him, they have a winning record.
They do?
Yeah.
What's the record right now?
Okay, maybe they're 3-4 since trading him, but they actually had some wins since they traded him.
That's fine. I mean, and when did they trade? They traded him when they was 0-2. Does that really say anything?
0-2 and 0-3 or something like that.
They were 0-2. There was the second week of the season.
And they went on like a 2-game winning streak. They were 2-0, and then I think they're 4-7 now. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He didn't help them, and he's not helping the Colts. He's not helping nobody. That's the point here. He was given up for a first-round pick, and he has done nothing for 2 franchises.
Quick stat, backtracking to the Peyton Manning comment about him in bad weather. We got a text message from the Dolphins insider Sean Coyle, who's currently listening to the stream here. He says Peyton Manning in below 30-degree weather. What is that? These percentages here. I can't read. It says, I think it's 8 games played, 61% completion percentage, 1,761 yards, 8 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, 76.7 quarterback rating. Pretty much average.
That's not Peyton Manning numbers at all.
30 to 40 degrees, 63.7%, 3,714 yards, 24 touchdowns, 20 interceptions, and an 87.7 rating in 13 games. So it slightly increases there, with about 10 degrees.
That's an above average quarterback right there.
Yeah, that's considering bad weather.
If you do that in bad weather, you'd be all right.
Those stats were brought to you by Sean Coyle, the Dolphins insider of the Red Zone Blitz. Appreciate it, Sean. But back to Trent Dancerson. I have faith in him.
Of course. Of course you do.
Listen. Give him this offseason. Give him this offseason. Just give him this. Just look, listen. If you give him this offseason, bring him back next year. Let's see what he does. If he stinks next year, I'll join your bandwagon.
Okay.
How about that?
All right. I'm going to give him this all season. Oh, blah, 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 blah. I said plenty of times he has plenty of talent, such and such. I've given him his talent a lot of credit. But going forward, this year, playoffs, he can't be your number 1 running back.
No, he's not. They benched him.
I'm just saying. That's exactly my point. You can't, so far this year has been a big-time disappointment. Maybe he can work out for them. He can be their interim James for the, down the road, such and such. But right now, it's been a big bomb of a trade.
And I would agree.
Especially when they need an offensive line. When they need offensive linemen to protect Luck, who, once again, was struggling today. They were getting beat up.
Here's the problem with me, with the whole Trent Richardson thing. When people are sitting here writing him off already, and just after him being the 3rd overall pick in 2012, and he's not even 2 years done, he doesn't have 2 seasons completed as an NFL player. There is still a lot of talent, I believe, left in Trent Richardson. People are writing the amount of talent that he has. They're writing it off. Don't write it off just because he stinks for a span of 8 games.
Even if people are not writing him off, Andrew Luck is the type of guy where you don't need an elite running back. Okay? You don't need an elite running back. So they could have used that first rounder on more pressing needs. Okay? You could have got, let's say, Darren McFadden in the offseason.
Darren McFadden cannot stay healthy. Why would you want Darren McFadden?
Cannot stay, and he's still better than Trent Richardson. Okay? I'm saying is you could assign someone in the offseason to fill that void.
Well, that's fine. Okay, if you want to make that argument, but backpedal here to week 2, and how hopeless it seemed at the running back position for the Colts. Don't you think that something big like this, where they go out and grab a Trent Richardson, who ideally, it makes sense because how young he is. He just came out of the draft last year. He doesn't have a lot of mileage on him as an NFL running back. So the trade made sense. The value in which they give up a first-rounder was in question. But again, he was a third overall pick last year.
But doesn't it raise the eyebrow, like The Rock, I can't do that, that an organization, I know it's not the same front office, that invested a fourth overall pick is willing to dump him now, just a year later. That should just, raise the eyebrow. Smell what The Rock is cooking, or in this case,
I have an answer. I have an answer for The Rock. Stone Cold is coming in real quick here, okay? Stone Cold says that the reason why Trent Richardson got dumped is because it's the new regime. They got new coaches, they got new GM, they got a new this and new that. They didn't think Trent Richardson was something that they wanted to keep in Cleveland. They didn't think him as a player was the direction that they wanted to head in offensively. They said, let's get a first-round pick here, and let's build towards the offense and the team that we're willing to build without Trent Richardson.
How about we agree that I'm 100% correct, and let's move on to the comments.
I'm going to disagree on that. So, I'm going to say give him an off season. Let's see how he does next season. There's still a lot of talent left with Trent.
Midgets.
You want to go ahead and tackle the next comment in the fan
All right, the
box?
next. All right, we got Rios. Should RG3 take responsibility for his mistakes?
Mistakes.
That's what he. I'm quoting the man, but I imagine he means his poor play.
Poor play.
This guy's always yapping his mouth. RG3. I've said this from the jump of this year. This guy's, his mouth is a little too much. Sometimes he needs to just shut up and take some responsibility. All right.
It's just I'm kind of scratching my head because last year we're sitting here talking about how great the 2012 draft class was regarding quarterbacks.
Not Ezra.
What do you mean not Ezra? I
didn't think he was a superstar.
I'm not talking about RG3. I'm talking in general the draft class of quarterbacks. How we're probably not going to see that for a while with the amount of talent
until
that
next
came
year.
out. No, there's no way. Listen, Andrew Luck right now is not playing very well. RG3 right now stinks, and his knee is not helping him out. I don't know if he's completely healed. Russell Wilson, he's okay. Not doing bad. Tannehill, he's again average. I think he's a very average quarterback. When it comes down to Andrew Luck and when it comes down to RG3, those two guys, I had a little bit of I had high hopes for both those guys. Especially, you already know how I feel about Andrew Luck. I think again he's going to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback when it's all said and done. But as for RG3, when I had to pick between the two, who could be a bust? I said RG3. And I'm not necessarily saying he's a bust right now, and I'm not saying he's going to be. But I guess what I'm trying to say is he's not playing well right now, as everyone is noting. But I feel as if that organization doesn't know how to handle a player like RG3.
Last year, they did a magnificent job. He was the golden boy, okay? The magic of RG3. And now this coaching staff, Washington fans, believe they're not handling him correct.
They're not.
How they're not? Because they want him to progress as a quarterback, and he just hasn't caught up.
Listen, the problem here is this. The problem here is this. He always last year he had how many rushing yards? 700?
Yes.
Okay. You expose your body to so much punishment when you run the ball in the NFL.
I'm tired of that excuse. It's
It's
starting to get so weak from everybody. He's punishing his body. He's taking so many hits.
He's a quarterback. You're not supposed to take those kind of hits.
Ben Roethlisberger has been taking a beating his whole career.
As a quarterback,
Aaron Rodgers has been taking a beating his whole career. As a quarterback,
not as a guy who's running in an open field, and you're taking shots from safeties and linebackers want to take your head off. As a quarterback
Ben
in the pocket.
Roethlisberger's just taking shots from defensive tackles and D ends, bigger guys. That's where they're taking shots from.
Slower guys.
Slower guys that are much more powerful. This is getting a little weak. It's getting a little weak. He's just not a pocket passer. Okay, and in this league, you want to win, and on a consistent basis, you got to be a pocket passer. And he's not progressing in that area. Okay, if you want to stop running around and not putting yourself in these dangerous situations, you got to have pocket awareness. Learn how to have accuracy in the pocket, something he does not possess yet. That's what the problem is with RG3.
You want to know why he doesn't possess it yet?
Not enough time?
Listen, and not enough time, but here's why. It leads from one argument to another. Last year, he gets banged up. He messes his knee up in the offseason. He needs a surgery on his knee. They bring him back this season. I believe he starts week 1. The question was he ready to come back? Was his knee healthy enough? Was he healthy enough? And at some points in the first couple of games, you can tell he wasn't ready. He wasn't 100%. Now, that leads me to believe his knee is not completely healed.
So that should fall on both of their...
But here's the problem.
Right?
You're not if you're not completely healed, you're not comfortable. If you're not comfortable, you're not going to play like you played last season. And if you're trying to pass the ball as a pocket passing quarterback, what is your mental clock telling you? Instead of 2 seconds, it's telling you 1.5. It's telling you I got to get rid of the ball right now. If you're sitting here scrambling, fumbling, intercepting, you know how many turnovers he has this season? I want to say it's about 23, not including the game he just played today. So, I think it was poor management on the Redskins. You have a stubborn quarterback in RG3 who wants to come back and play, and rightfully so, being the leader of that team, or arguably the leader. Some people don't consider him the leader. You have a guy who's stubborn who wants to play. You have management who's like, you know what, I don't think it's a good idea for you to play. They're clashing, and we saw what happened in preseason. You got RG3 wearing shirts like, you better play me, or I can't remember what he said. You got him mouthing off. You got Shanahan mouthing off. And eventually he played. I don't think they should have played him. I think he should have been 120% before he played out on the field. And now he's taking, the hits that he takes week in and week out. I don't think he's ready.
The sensitivity of RG3. Where I think the Redskins coaching staff is messing up is they're not running the ball enough. Okay, you got a guy that's averaging 5 yards a carry, Alfred Morris. Okay, you got Junior, who's very capable and could be a starting running back in this league. They should run the ball more. Last year, they didn't ask RG3 to carry the Redskins. He was managing the Redskins. This year, they're asking him to carry the load more, and he can't get it done.
Do you not remember last season, Ezra?
Remember last season what?
Okay, first of all, you have the running back. He's slipping my mind.
Morris.
Alfred Morris runs for 1,600 yards. RG3 runs for 700 yards. Right now, they can't do that, and the only guy they can rely on when it comes to running game is Alfred Morris. The other dimension they had in the running game was RG3, and right now he cannot run to save his life. And they're not going to put him in that position to...
So I'm not asking RG3 to run more. I'm asking for them to run Alfred Morris more, their backup running back, to run the ball more, and go back to RG3. Well, this season's basically done for.
They're mathematically eliminated right now.
Oh, so they're done. So whatever, you got to try to go with, now from the season forward, I think you try to progress them as a pocket passer. But they made a mistake as I think they should have ran the ball more and kept RG3 managing the game, I guess. Okay, because last year he only had 300 and something passing attempts, maybe about 350, 360, which was, for starting quarterbacks last year, was near the bottom.
He already surpassed that this season. He's already passed that.
I know this because they're asking him to progress and carry the team, and he's not ready for that.
I don't think he's comfortable for that yet. I think legitimately what RG3 wants to do is bring both dimensions. He wants to pass and he wants to run, and he can't run right now. I just don't feel like he's 100% comfortable.
And I want to say this too, because it's a negative this year. I don't like what they did for this year if you're trying to make the playoffs, such and such. But long term, I think this will help RG3 in a sense of throwing him out there and asking him to carry the team and to become that pocket passer. more of a pocket passer, because I've always felt that was the problem with the Jets did with Mark Sanchez. When you ask a guy to be a game manager for the first couple years, that's what you're developing, a game manager, and then you can't ask him to take over a team and carry a team. That's not what he was developed the first couple years. So this year, they're asking him to go through those growing pains as a pocket passer and such, and it will help him down the road. Like, let's see, Cam Newton, all right? The man was, runner first, such and such. Now he's developed. Last year he struggled. This year, he struggled because he was trying to become more of a pocket passer. This year, he's developing more into a pocket passer, and he's feeling more confident back there, and that's why he's cut down his turnovers, and he's more effective when they need him to pass the ball. So long term, this is going to be good for the Redskins. But this year, if you're just talking about this year making the playoffs, such and such, they messed up.
They messed up. Man, they're done. They're
finished.
Out. Take a couple more of your guys' questions. We've been on the Red Zone Blitz for almost an hour and a half, so we're going to wrap it up here shortly. Head into the FanDuel comment box. Let's take a look at what you guys got for us. Andre Rios thinks, in his opinion, that running back is the easiest position to get adapted to. Look at Willis McGahee doing his thing just as well, and he's terrible. I don't
get the terrible part, because Willis McGahee was a beast in college, and he was pretty good.
I think he's kind of commenting on the whole Trent Richardson thing that we were talking about.
No, I know what he's talking about, but I'm saying Willis McGahee's terrible. Maybe now, because he had like 18,000 surgeries on his knees and stuff like that, and he's still a pretty good running back. But I don't think you ever call Willis McGahee terrible.
I'll tell you guys.
I understand what he's trying to say, and I agree with him, but you used the wrong example.
Speaking of running backs, that everyone listening right now, do not forget about Marcus Lattimore out in San Francisco. Marcus Lattimore should have been the first running back taken in last year's draft, and we all saw the nasty injury that he suffered, so he had to rehab his knee. He falls to the 4th round, where the 49ers had so many draft picks last year, where they thought that they should take a shot on Marcus Lattimore, which I think was a great idea and a great move. Now, you have Frank Gore, an older running back who is eventually, his time is going to run out. The treads on his tire are starting to wear out. If he's not already in his 30s, he's coming up on his 30s. And usually when you hit the 30 mark as a running back, it's time to, it's time for you to go. Marcus Lattimore, if he's rehabbed properly, if he can come back and be the guy that he was in college, the 49ers are going to have a serious threat at running back yet again in Marcus Lattimore. So that's a guy that you guys should keep tabs on out in San Francisco. Any other comments you see, Ezra? Wookie Carr has a question.
Oh, Black Mamba, Barry Sanders is better than Emmitt Smith. Oh, that's what you want to write.
Wookie Collins says, do you think Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey double threat is the best in the NFL? Those two being receivers on the Chicago Bears. Ezra? I'm thinking about saying I want to say no, because the Broncos, they got a triple threat, maybe even a quadruple threat.
I know they have a triple threat, but I want to cut it down to 2. I'm going to go with Thomas and Wes Welker, because they're 2 different types of.
They just had 4 touchdowns today.
If I'm picking 2 out of the 3 in Denver, it's going to be Thomas and Wes Welker.
Okay.
Just saying, that's me.
Okay,
because,
right.
like I said, they have their own skill set. We know how dangerous Wes Welker is out the slot, and Thomas, big physical, deep threat, and he can catch it in the middle. I love Thomas' skill set, I really do. And Wes Welker, he's just dangerous all around. I like that. And you know what the funny part is? Brandon Marshall, that's my favorite wide receiver in the NFL. The way he plays, I really do. But they're both, to me, they're both the type of same wide receiver. They're big guys, speed, deep threats. Brandon Marshall's really good in the middle also, and he's great after the catch. But I'm gonna go with Thomas, Wes Welker on top of my head. I'm trying to think of other threats out there.
I was gonna say Julio Jones and Roddy White, but not this season.
Yeah, it's not looking good this season, but they're up there, you know. But you know what? The thing is, Roddy White's getting up there in age.
Yeah.
So going forward, you know, I think these two so far. If Calvin Johnson had a solid
or AJ Green, if one of those two guys had another guy beside him, I think those two teams would be in consideration. But I think Chicago has a pretty solid tandem at receiver right now. I don't know.
You gotta like it. You gotta like it a lot, man. Going forward.
I don't know if I can think of anybody else right now that has. I mean, besides Denver and Atlanta, but
I don't want it. Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb going down the line too. I like that. I don't think they're as good as the other two that we're talking about, but I think you could put them there because
I think Jordy Nelson's slightly underrated.
He's very underrated. And Cobb, I think he's like that Percy Harvin type wide receiver. Like he can do anything. He can rush the ball. He can. He can turn a 5-yard play into a 95-yard play. So he's that type of guy. I like that. I like that duo right there. Let's see. Gotta think. Which takes a long time. Santonio Holmes, Curly.
No. No.
I know. Believe me. I know. It was a joke.
Stephen Hill.
I think that's it. At the top of my head. Maybe somebody will write something in the comment box, but that I can think on top of my head. I'm probably missing someone.
Don't say Deshaun Jackson and Jeremy Maclin.
Yeah. No.
I don't know about that one. Victor Cruz and Hakeem Nicks?
Hakeem Nicks will not be there next year, so you can forget about that.
It's going to be tough. I don't know.
And the way they performed this year, which is not entirely their fault, it's not what it is.
I think we're going to wrap up the Red Zone Blitz tonight. We've been on for an hour and a half. Let me just take a look. Just the last peek at the FanDuel comment box here.
We can answer them real quick, 5 seconds.
All right, 5 seconds, rapid fire. What about Mark Ingram?
How far can Tom Brady take the Patriots?
Very far.
Super Bowl. He could do it. He could do it. I'm not saying he will, but he could do it.
Elliot Mock says, what about Mark Ingram? I think Mark Ingram is poo-poo. I don't think he's very, very good. Is Nnamdi Asomugha's career over? This is from Black Mamba. Asomugha, I think right now his career is over as an NFL player. I think his career is just starting
as a secondary coach.
Fast food waiter at a McDonald's.
I don't think McDonald's has fast food waiters. So
hey, New York
somewhere. A position
in New York way.
Hey, he was great at one point. Okay, he was arguably the best cornerback in football.
I just think people will. I don't know about that. I think people. It's like an energy drink type thing. You tell people that they're gonna get energy, so they start thinking it. And they're like, I gotta keep buying this stuff. Well, you tell people not to throw against Nnamdi, so they don't do it, and they make him out to be a good corner. I don't know. Maybe that was just me.
Anyway, we got a couple. We got some tandems. We got Reggie Wayne, T.Y. Hilton. We got Cruz and Randall, which I was gonna actually say for next year. Those two might be dangerous.
Jackson and Williams in Tampa. Vincent Jackson and
I'm not a big fan of Mike Williams like that. It's a good tandem. It's a good one, but I don't think elite like the ones we're talking about. Reggie Wayne, I think he's up there in age, even though I love him too, and he was a big loss for the Colts. You see how their offense has been reacting since his loss, but going forward, I don't know. I wouldn't put him up there.
Michael Floyd and Larry Fitzgerald. I just don't have. Larry Fitzgerald, everyone knows he's one of the elite receivers in the league. But Michael Floyd...
He's been inconsistent. He's had a good year this year, but he's been inconsistent.
Who will get the first overall pick next year in the draft?
I don't watch college football. Don't care for college football.
No. The first overall pick. The first overall pick.
Oh, who will get it? Oh, I thought who will be. Excuse me. I apologize. Doom. Jaguars, can you believe it? They won again today? Chad Henne, baby. Chad Henne. I hope he's a future Jets quarterback. Because if he can make that crap.
Are they 2-10? Do they have the worst record in the NFL?
The Houston Texans currently
Houston is the worst team right now. Wow.
But are they going to get the first overall pick?
Yo, the way they're playing right now, I wouldn't doubt it.
They almost won today.
Yeah, but against who?
The Patriots.
Yeah, you're right. For some reason, I thought they almost beat the Jags, but that was last week. Yeah, they lost to Jacksonville last week.
Well, I tell you what, if they were smart, okay, if they were smart, the Jaguars would get the first overall pick. But let me tell you who else is a dark horse for the first overall pick. We just spoke about them.
Dark horse. Who?
The Redskins.
What are they?
Oh, wait, that would belong to who? The Rams. How about that one? Boom, baby. Boom, shakalaka. That's my pick. I'm gonna go with the Rams. Just because it's beautiful. It just sounds like an ending to a beautiful movie. Okay?
And guess
Redskins trade their first round pick
and
the Rams get the first overall pick. And then they trade it. Then they trade the first overall pick to the Jets so they could get their franchise quarterback.
Who's gonna stink, and the Jets are gonna look like the Jets. A circus.
Okay? But I'm gonna go with the Redskins via Rams. So
okay, Redskins via Rams. But just all these picks they've been able to acquire over the last 2 seasons to help build that team. That's another reason why I've been on that Rams bandwagon, even though they're in a hard division. They're gonna have 2 more first-round draft selections this next draft. So, and if they do, let's just say they draft in the top 5 because of that Redskins pick.
Do say they will be drafting in the top 5.
Okay, let's just say they will be. If it was me, I would trade out of that pick and even get more picks.
That's what I just said. I just said this, man. You're taking my script from me. I shall sue you. This is my Disney movie for my Jets.
Where they trade up into the top 5 and draft a bad quarterback.
We draft Bridgewater and win multiple Super Bowls.
Yo, hey, you can keep dreaming, but I don't see that happening.
Yes.
So, look, he's dreaming. Look at him.
Rex Ryan.
Well, we're going to call it a wrap on the Red Zone Blitz tonight. We've been on for an hour and a half. I'm going to go dream about, I don't know, my internship tomorrow and how much I have to get done.
Dream about paperwork?
And yeah, well,
your dreams are lame, okay?
Well, your dreams about winning a Super Bowl that your team isn't going to win.
I didn't dream about that. I just made up a Hollywood script. You don't listen to me. You don't listen.
I don't want to listen. The Jets stink.
I know this. That's why this movie's going to be so amazing. Because no one's going to think we're going to come out of nowhere.
Hey, they want to trade up in the top 5. What if they draft Johnny Football?
Ooh, baby! He's gonna go buck wild in New York City then. Johnny Football in New York City?
Hey, that would be the worst place
for him to go. I tell you what, if you thought Tim Tebow was
a circus?
A circus all over ESPN, this and that, you better get Jets coverage all year round for the next 10 years of Johnny Football.
That's going to be Circus 2.0.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's going to be terrible. You know what? I actually don't want the Jets to draft Manziel just for that reason. Just because of the market that he's going to be in. That's
a great point. Someone brought up the Falcons, Mike. They have a chance at the first overall pick, too. Man. You got 2 teams, maybe 3 teams, even though I'm not one of them. The Redskins, I don't think anybody thought it was going to be first overall pick. Falcons, I definitely didn't think that. And the Houston Texans. Oh, man.
Well, we're going to wrap up the Red Zone Blitz here, Ezra. It's great. It's great to have you, as always, with your vitamin water. He has no comment.
Lemonade.
Hey, let's get a shout out to everybody though.
Let's do it.
Wookie Collin. Black Mamba.
MVP.
Yeah, he is the MVP. The Postman, Andre Rios.
Miguel Gonzalez.
Team Boy TV, Miguel Gonzalez. Travis Sports Videos, New York's Knicks Fly High.
They're flying straight down.
They're
9 straight
flying,
loss.
They're flying to the ground. Elliot Mock. If I miss anybody, I apologize. But
We
I
got
think
Travis Sports Videos. Come on, my man.
I did say Travis Sports
Oh, I
Videos.
apologize.
So everybody that came out and viewed tonight, we appreciate it.
Thank you
we
for the
will be
support.
on.
You guys are amazing. Air
We'll-
hugs.
High fives. And we will be on next week, same time after the Sunday night football game for another episode of the Red Zone Blitz. Hopefully the playoff picture will start to wrap up a little bit more, especially in the AFC. I think a lot more teams are alive there than the NFC. But Ezra, any last comments?
No, I'm stuck. My mind is blank, like usual.
Okay. All right. Great. Fantastic. All right. And that is it for the Red Zone Blitz tonight. So we will catch you guys later. Appreciate you guys watching. We're out.